accomplishment. Hi, 39-year-old man, married 3 years. Had suspected my wife of cheating based on unusual behaviors, change in patterns, etc. Evidence was scant, but gradually appeared, and like most guys I might have been in denial. After all, months ago we took a ski vacation in the Alps and all was well. Proof has arrived. Not evidence, proof. I know who the guy is. He lives out of town. I know where he works, but I do not know too much else about him or anything. She doesn't know that I know. However, I will soon confront her. Have to. I cannot tolerate this. Ours is the classic situation where I supported her through her medical training, and she has now begun a job where her income is upwards of $40,000 a month before taxes. In order to support us, I sold a business. We moved, and in doing so, limited my professional opportunities. I do well in big cities, we moved to smallish ones. I currently work at a business I started online. It makes about $15,000 a month. She earns an enormous income. I am meeting with a lawyer later this week to learn the rules. We live in an apartment and don't have kids, just 2 dogs. If anyone has any advice, I am all ears, especially on financial stuff. As far as I know, her income is our income and she can't legally cut me off in some way. We have a joint bank account. Living arrangements. Going to be rough living with a bad person. Since she is having the affair, I should ask her to leave. Can I? I realize the lawyer will answer a lot of these. However, I am also trying to prepare for that consultation, so please do share anything you've got. Attorney happens tomorrow. It was the first day they had. Not really looking for, expecting long-term support. I am 39 and can work again, actually, have some decent connections and all that, and I am sure a court will look and go, this guy can work, which would be accurate. I am not interested in being taken care of for the rest of my life, but I would like to get restored to where I was before we switched directions for her career. Basically, 0 chance of sleeping with her again. I will look into the voice recorders and private detective maybe, talking to lawyer tomorrow, so we'll see what they suggest. You are correct in that I supported us during fellowship and residency. We lived in City A during residency where I was doing well with my business. We moved to City B for fellowship, so I sold the business and, while in City B, paid all the rent and many of the bills, while doing all day-to-day stuff you do when your partner works. Then we moved to City C for her job. She's a type of surgeon, not getting more specific than that. Smaller cities often have greater demand for higher skill sets and so they pay more. That's the case here. I get your point about the degree being marital asset. I also know that mathematically, her stipend would not support payment of even a modest rent, along with her student loans and other bills. Cities B and C are smaller cities and not a place where you see the kind of jobs I have experience with. As such, I started another business. It's coming along, but it takes time. Post-divorce, I would move back to City. I'll see what all that really means tomorrow. Like I said, not looking for $1 trillion here, just want a bridge back to my pre-marriage life. The lawyer, I was satisfied, thought he was a good choice. Got an overview of the process. He understood and was able to articulate credible arguments to bolster my claim for support. But he said judges view things differently, so I could get a shorter-term rehabilitative sum or something as long as the marriage itself. Some discussion about assets, income, division thereof, and so on. Mediation is required. He shared some of the arguments against me and we talked through that. He said that the evidence I have for the affair is likely admissible, but suggested I get more. Working on that. Warned me that because of our high income, my wife, once she hires a lawyer, may be encouraged by her lawyer to drag on the process and make it less pleasant. More billables. I had actually planned to confront my wife soon, and he said hold off on that, see if she comes clean, etc. So, I am in a holding and evidence gathering mode. No big surprises overall. Just trying to be patient now. I am well above average athletic and attractive. Even at 39 I have no gray hair, nearly all the hair I had at 19, and nice blue eyes that are 6 feet off the ground when I'm standing up. Her friends and colleagues, male and female, often wanted to talk to me and hear about what I was up to. I never felt shut out of the conversations. Social stuff has always been easy for me though, and I always felt like the other docs wanted to talk to me because I was an outsider and they wanted to know what the outside world was like. Maybe they just thought I was pretty. Either way, this was not my issue. Affection for me is way down. She is surely thinking of exiting the marriage. I don't believe this is a strategic decision but a knee-jerk. If she was cheating with a Nobel Prize-winning physician or high-powered financial guy or entertainer, it would be loathsome, but it would also on some level be comprehensible. She is cheating with a schlump. Maybe she wants to be the big dog and the boss in the relationship. I treat her as an equal. Joe average in appearance, education, and success. She is feeding a demon in her head. It's a tough place to be for her. It's rough for me too, but I'm not feeding a demon. I'm breathing clear air. It sucks right now, but as you said, I didn't wreck the marriage. Got to press forward. If I fight, I will be pressed forward anyway, and just be tired. She has a good friend from college who we see several times a year. It's probably her oldest and closest friend. Let's call her Sarah. She recently lamented to me that she hasn't talked to Sarah in a while, and they used to talk all the time. When you're in the midst of this, when your marriage is wobbly, when you're not sure what to do, you tend to blame yourself. This admission that she's lost touch with an old and close friend is additional evidence that it is not I who has changed. It doesn't make me any happier. It still sucks elephant-sized balls, but it helps with perspective. Having fulfilled her career goal, she is now getting to work on personal goals, or as you said, pursuing what she thinks she deserves. The toughest part of all this is knowing there is nothing I can do. She is simply making her choices. I'm not sure if he is married. I think he is divorced, but not 100%. My lawyer said he can find out easy enough, so I will leave that to him. When it comes time to play that card, we will. As far as a timeline and a resolution process, I am following the advice of counsel. I'm paying him to be dispassionate. After all, he said don't confront yet. She's digging a hole. Don't interrupt. In fact, when a confrontation does happen, he advised I reveal as little as possible. He has suggested that she is also in contact with an attorney and probably has not revealed to her attorney that she's cheating. He said they never do. So, I'm holding back on the evidence for now. My lawyer knows. I would prefer a quick resolution. I've walked through counter-arguments from her potential lawyer, and when the time comes, we will resolve things. Whatever negotiating leverage we have, I'll use when the time comes. Things are getting surreal. I put a VAR in the car. Hope to get phone calls or whatever. I got a recording of my wife meeting with this guy. He lives out of town. He was in town and having a conversation one morning. I suppose she met up with him on the way to work or something. Except he lives in another city. I was actually shocked that their affair was so well developed. I naively thought this affair would be a side hookup kind of thing. It is not. There is an actual relationship going on. They talked about their respective jobs and co-workers, what their day looked like and so on. I'm not more or less upset by it. That ship has sailed and I've made peace. I'm genuinely surprised. Curious things. A lot of topics were discussed. Not discussed, me. Does this guy know she's married? If so, she sure wasn't mentioning it. That woman on the recording was my wife, but also wasn't. Something has perceptibly changed. Email to lawyer, private investigator is next stop. Rough seas over here. These days, I am preparing for as much stupidity as I can. The corporate world has taught me that litigation is about out-preparing the adverse party. I will do this. I've talked through the potential arguments coming back at me and I am ready. Evidence gathering continues so that when the process starts, there is as little wiggle room as possible. Everything is geared to the long-term view of preparing for the rest of my life, not getting bogged down in already decided drama. Does it hurt? Imagine saying goodbye in your head to a woman you loved more than you ever thought possible. Yeah, it hurts. I actually said the words goodbye wife's name to myself and it was the saddest thing I have ever had to do. I expected I might do that age 90, not age 40. I was in the military and saw young people die. On a personal level, this is worse. Yet the sun will rise tomorrow, and it isn't going to ask me how I am feeling. It's just going to heat a world for me to live in. And I am going to live in it, not hide from it. My goal in resolving this is to make her accept the consequences of her actions. Nothing less than accepting the consequences of betraying a short marriage, and nothing more. Split the marital assets, pay your support, and go away and live the life you want. I'll even agree to non-disclosure so her mom, who is a sweet lady, doesn't have to age and die knowing her smartest kid is a dysfunctional replica of her dad, who treated her mom like crap. I'm not interested in humiliating anyone. That only leaves more scars, and there have been enough of those already. I take little pleasure in the prospect of grinding her into dust or wrecking her emotionally. It's just not what I am about. You did your actions. Take the consequences and go live your life. I wish you happiness, but it's not going to be my job anymore to help you find it. That's where I am at. Right now, it's about making the transition as quick and painless as I can. This guy knows about my wife's co-workers, their spouses, where they travel, etc. He knows more than I do. The bonding stuff is whatever. I've made peace with that. That disgusts me, but I am nearly 40, not 19. People have slept together. I suspect I will learn it is even worse. I had a thought a minute ago, last month, sort of out of the blue. She proposed a night in where we'd hook up for the first time in like 2 to 3 months. I said yes. This was before I was sure of the affair. It didn't go as planned. She got like 4 pages from work and the dogs were relentless about either getting in the bed or barking and crying if we put them outside of the room. When we finally agreed to not continue, she absolutely melted down into hysterics beyond anything I had ever seen from her. It seemed way out of proportion, but I excused it as marital stress because we had been having quite a bit. As the dots have connected, I have come to realize she may have been pregnant and wanted to shift that over to me. That explanation actually makes the most sense for the random desire to hook up and the insanely disproportional reaction when we did. I actually am not 100% sure she is not pregnant right now. She hasn't mentioned her period in a while, but then again, who knows? So yeah, I am beginning to realize that when a person breaks, there is no bottom to their tragedy until it's a true rock bottom. For what it's worth, we just ate lunch together and this guy called her twice. She sent the calls to VM and pretended they were work. I played along, because that is what I am doing now. But yeah, man, I just found an old picture of the first house we moved into just after we got married. It was an ordinary place. We were sitting on the front steps, having just set it up. There's so much happiness in that photo, and now there is so little. That hurts, because our successes should have increased our happiness, and that picture takes me back to a time that will never exist again, the boundless joy of a new couple on their first adventure. It's a little piece of junk house, but there we are on the front steps, living our lives. Maybe one day I will find another wife, certainly no hurry, you can believe that. But let's say one day maybe I do and we have our first house together. I can be happy, but I can never experience it as purely as I did back then. But I'm here. I'm alive. I'm okay. This will get resolved and I will remember the happy and sad times as part of the way the world works. The end approaches. We had counseling tonight and the counselor asked a question in which our answers wildly diverged and made her look worse. Basically, it was about how you perceive your attentiveness to your partner. She answered low average and I answered very high. I think we were both being honest. She came home later and told me that she disagrees with my answer. It was a your perception, so only my answer is valid. Whatever, how can she debate my perception? Then she tells me she is not happy and can't get happy and hints at divorce. I said that people have survived divorce. I still care about her and if we end up there, we both have a lot of living still to do. Conversation moves on and I said, your mom got divorced and she isn't dead. Wife says, yeah, but there was a lot of anger and mom is still bitter and I don't want to be that. So, I said, yeah, but your dad was kind of a jerk, carrying on affairs, etc. And while I may make lots of little mistakes, I never make the really big crappy structural ones, no change in expression or admission. But she agreed. We talked some more and she said, I want someone who takes care of me that way I take care of you. I said, what do you mean? She said she wants someone who makes her doctor's appointments and gets groceries and takes care of me emotionally and financially. So, I said, we always knew your income would be higher. I reminded her that no one in her family makes a third of what she makes, and that at my highest ever I made almost half when we met, and that was a good income for most people. She knew all this. This is not a surprise. It took you a long time to get here, and it will take me a while to catch up as an entrepreneur. But we chose this together. No one put a gun to her head. In fellowship I took very good care of you. I changed my whole life so you could just do fellowship and worry about little else. When your car got wrecked, I gave you mine and got around on foot and bike for months. In the winter, so you could hold off on buying one and we had the money. And I paid 24 months of rent plus security. I got most of the groceries and I literally did 100% of the laundry. She didn't even know how to work the machine. I found a dentist, made her appointments and canceled and rescheduled her several times. And I handled every veterinary appointment. Seriously, what the hell? She told me sometimes I waited until she got home before I asked what I should get for dinner. It's true. I asked what she wanted. I didn't clairvoyantly figure it out in her absence. She then said it feels like something in her head, heart snapped and she can't fix it. I gingerly asked if this might be a psychiatrist issue. She said possibly but didn't love that line of conversation. We moved on. I said I'm not perfect but I have been a decent husband and certainly since this got serious, she has been the center of my universe. She actually said that's not true. Back in the beginning you did some shady stuff. Note, this is referring to when we started dating. So, I said yes, in the beginning, I was casually involved with people and had to unwind them. That was all done in early 2013, and we got engaged a year after that and married a year after that. You've certainly been front and center since long before engagement. Note, is she really beating up on me because in month 3 of our relationship I didn't tell everyone I was off the market forever? Yes, we met Christmas, 2012, and in March 2013 I had slept with a different woman. That was the last time. We got engaged spring 2014. What the hell? She said she wants a break. I didn't object. I said I'll find a place to go. I may just serve her with papers while on break. I suppose she needs time to clean up the evidence with the other guy. I honestly just sat there thunderstruck. I have recordings of her talking to another dude. This guy was calling her while we ate dinner, but I revealed nothing. Things went really bad around the time the affair started. Before that, it was a pretty normal thing. Physical life was okay. It wasn't fantastic but it wasn't awful. Non-physical intimacy, touches, kisses, was completely normal. So were good conversations, walks, dinners together and so on. It all dried up. I bought her a very nice present for her birthday in April, with the few bucks I had from my business, about $4,000 in jewelry. Her first reaction was to condemn the expense and getting mad about it. That was when I went from concern to red flags and started looking a little close and seeing fishiness. I don't want to sound like an asshat, but $4,000 is generally irrelevant to us. I know now she was mad because in her head I was the jerk who made her cheat and my behavior, giving a nice gift and not paying for it from our joint account, was out of keeping with being a jerk and it pissed her off. We started going to counseling a few weeks ago, late May, I guess. When things were bad in April, my wife blamed me. So, I empathized and apologized for hurting her and promised to take her feelings into account. Things were better for 48 hours and then kept getting worse. She suggested counseling. I agreed and we went. By then I had evidence of an affair, then I had strong evidence, then I had proof. She still doesn't know that I know. Her BF, he is the manager of a retail operation. This is not a boss in any meaningful sense. Does the guy managing DSW seem like a boss to you? It's not DSW, but it's that tier. He got there because he's got the IQ of a watermelon, and that's what is needed to do that job. I was a Navy officer with a very high-stress job, have a degree in science, and owned a successful business. During her fellowship, I didn't sit around and fold her clothes. In fact, I achieved something so demanding and so high-profile that revealing it would immediately out me. I literally can't say anything else anonymously. It suffices to say that when we meet people, they still, it's been 2 years, ask about it. Complete strangers in foreign countries have walked up to me and started conversations about it. I expect to lose access to the joint account soon. I know she can't close me out of it, but she can take the money and stop the deposits. I have few monthly bills, so that won't be a huge issue. I have enough money to eat and enough support system to be okay through the process. To be decided, as far as I know. Split up assets, financial and non-financial. There isn't a ton. We have some 20,000 worth of furniture and another 10,000 of electronics. Dog custody, amount and duration of support payments. That's pretty much it. Not a ton to fight over. It's probably in my interest emotionally to not be around when the paperwork is served, which I think will likely be next week. I can't see it getting done any sooner. This is where we are. Update, I found, well, let's just say it's suggestive pictures of her, just her, taken with a time and date stamp that indicate they were taken when she was with the other guy. It was a lot to handle. Then I realized I already know the details. My wife has a deep hole in her soul. It is tragic, but I can't help her. I've tried. I've been a good husband. Now I need to be smart husband as I navigate this minefield. I took a deep breath and made a plan. Tomorrow I am going to see some family in Ohio for the weekend. I haven't told anyone and don't plan to yet. Not even my family. First thing in the morning I am taking about half the money out of our accounts. I will leave half the cash plus July's bills money and take the rest. She'll get a notification of the transaction, but I will simply text her that I am headed out of town. I don't know where things are headed with us, and I wanted to take some money in case this turns into an extended break. I feel bad leaving my pups. I really do. I've secured important legal stuff, her contract, tax returns, pay stubs, and sentimental items, some Navy stuff, childhood pics and memorabilia from what I did in 2016. You just never know what an enraged person might do, throw out, etc. A childhood pic with your grandpa when he was 87? In the trash. You just never know. I'm new at this. I'm clear-headed, but I am also close to the fire. Is there anything else I should be thinking through over the next 12 hours? I've wrestled with the idea of revealing this or that, or of dropping hints or being vaguely on target here and there. My lawyer suggested not to reveal it before the papers are served, because she'll reinvent reality. Even though I've got solid proof, she'll wrap 85 layers around it, not to mention challenge admissibility and all that. He suggested I wait for her to either come clean or wait until she's served and it's in the filing. In short, he said it doesn't do any good to reveal anything. Yeah, I'll keep this quiet. If you settle amicably card is a nice one to have, and I'm not going to trade it away just yet. Also, let her think through all of this. She's the one who cheated. Let her carry some of the stress. She's gotten a free ride for a while. I've done all the non-physical husband stuff. She's been out and about cheating. Now things become real. A bunch of money left our account today. Papers come next week, a few days after she thinks she's starting a break. I think she really thought she could line it all up, so 1. She gets a divorce. 2. Blames me, to her friends and family, for being a bad husband. 3. Negotiates against me when I am low on money and will take a bad settlement. 4. Pretends she met the new guy on break. In this plan, she walks away free and clear socially and well off financially. By not revealing anything I know, I've been able to get a decent handle on her strategy and negotiate against it. Now I've put the pieces in place where the only thing she can get from her list is 1. I am coming to learn that there are 2 conversations. The lawyers in court and the lawyers to each other. My lawyer will have enough to say to hers, look, we've got a strong case. She cheated. He didn't do anything wrong. She wants out. The right number is X. And her lawyer will hopefully help her understand that. If my wife wants to go scorched earth and litigate this until 2021, there isn't much I can do. But I think confronting her and embarrassing her only creates and increases her desire to get me back, and the only venue she has for that is the court. She can't embarrass me as I have been faithful and a pretty good guy. Worst she can do is make up a story about supporting me and what a lazy bum I am. But that only plays with strangers who don't know us. Our joint friends know what I have done and what I do. I couldn't care less about strangers. Let her tell her colleagues I'm the worst doofus on earth. So what? If all goes well, I will be in a beachfront condo next year by myself. Instead, if I keep this as decent and dignified as the circumstances allow, she's likely to think let's get out, not let's get him back, and agree to a reasonable number on a shorter timeline. That's my reasoning. If I'm wrong, then it's out of my hands anyway. Meeting with lawyer today and then it's on. I have copy of her employment contract, tax return, bank statements to show deposits and suspicious activity, pics of her with the other guy, texts and social media supporting the idea that I was a good husband. What else should I bring if I can? I presented some new evidence, including photos of my wife with the other guy, and my lawyer was absolutely stunned. He was so stunned that he called his partner and said, "You ever seen anything like this? They get pictures all the time. They rarely get pictures of the happy couple holding hands and being affectionate in public." I do my homework. His partner admitted that this quantity and quality of evidence was uncommon. Meanwhile, my wife has flown off the handle. I made a large, about 40% of the account, bank withdrawal from the joint account and she flipped out. "You should have talked to me first." So, after she asked me for a break, I should talk things through with her. "Sure, I'll get right on that." Then, a few little auto pays came through and she didn't like that at all. "We're talking like a few $100 total against $40,000 per month income. You should pay that with the money you took from my account." Note, it's a joint account. She showed more fire over the money than she has in our marriage. Last night, 10 hours after telling me that my $200 in auto pays were intolerable, she texted to wish me a happy 4th. Okay, happy 4th to you as well. Complaint is drafted, probably going to file and serve Monday. She'll be in the office, not the hospital, and I'm out of town. The next bank withdrawal is really going to set her off. Initially, my lawyer suggested excluding adultery and surprising her with an amended complaint at subsequent hearing. Upon further discussion, we've agreed to file the complaint with adultery included. We decided that this was the quickest path to resolution. Let's stop the BS, you know. I did all that homework to prove the infidelity. She does seem incredibly entitled. I guess this character trait was hidden by her very genuine hard work in pursuit of her professional goals. Now that she has the huge income and the accompanying freedom, she thinks the rules don't apply. In essence, then, she has already divorced me. I'm just formalizing it. Complaint was filed Friday and gets served today. It hurts. I never wanted to see this day. But as others have pointed out, I'm not the bad guy here. I didn't sleep with someone else. I didn't lie. I didn't blame my partner for every problem. I didn't sit through multiple counseling sessions and make up a story. I didn't. The list goes on. This is about moving on and moving a bad person out of my life. So yeah, it hurts. But it is the beginning of the healing. My lawyer has advised me to say nothing. That's what I'm going to do. I'm playing to win in court. When I started finding evidence, I gathered and waited. Had she come clean, I might have considered reconciliation. Instead, she extended the lie in scope and duration, which made the decision for me. I've got good people and they're checking in on me. It helps a lot. Update: she was served yesterday. Her response was a 7-text barrage in which she informed me that she will not be paying any support. I will be given custody of neither dog. In addition, she expressed particular outrage at the infidelity assertion, denying it with explicit language, before calling me a jerk. I shared this text storm with my lawyer. He said this goes two ways. They either come clean or they deny till they are gone, and my WW is in the second group. I followed my lawyer's advice and said nothing at all. It was pretty clear from that mini explosion that she hasn't been in touch with a lawyer, and also clear that this process will be stressful for her. Good. She slept with another guy. The rest of the day was spent in touch with friends and family. I'm not sure how it for other guys, but yesterday was not that bad, and the insanity of her response, "I will not," only confirms the correctness of my decision. We've mostly been joking about it. She's already reached a decision. I thought she was a doctor. She's a judge too. Given her incisive resolution of legal issues, I'm surprised Trump didn't pick her for the Supreme Court. And so on. So, it was a stressful day, but the worst stress for me happened a while back. She's got some time to respond to the complaint and the interrogatories, and then I guess we'll do a temporary hearing. My mind is where it's always been since I realized the extent of her behavior when in court. She's actually unhinged from reality now. I didn't do anything. I'm not paying anything. She's reverted to a 10-year-old girl. I presume she is not stamping her feet, but maybe she is. It also makes her the ideal opponent in litigation, irrational, short-term thinker and prone to outbursts. I have pictures of her, with him, with a friend of hers, see you at deposition, friend. As well as just the two of them together, holding hands, kissing, snuggling. I have it all. I have bank records which place her in his hometown repeatedly, and there is no other reason for her to be there. I have texts in which she mentions their past physical encounters, plans future ones, exchanges a non-explicit picture with him and mentions his hometown. I have time and date stamped pictures of a suggestive but not explicit nature which she sent to him from a hotel. And I have the bank statements that place her in the hotel at that time. When I discovered this behavior, I made a decision. Eat the stress, make a plan, take everything. And I'm going to. I believe she does not fully grasp what happens now. I believe she thinks this will just go away because she has decreed it as such. But instead, she hires a lawyer. That cost me $7,000 to get started. She responds to the complaint and interrogatories. We have a temporary hearing. At this hearing, I may be awarded interim, provisional support, her income, $40,000 per month, my income $2,000 per month, and my attorney has requested she pay his fees. That's also likely. What is the role of the court but to keep lawyers employed? After all, there's a decent chance that she'll be spending $5,000 to $10,000 per month funding my monthly expenses while she funds both sides of the suit. Then the litigation starts. I didn't ask for this. A good friend of mine is a detective in NYC. He says once you start revealing evidence to a criminal, they start clinging to any sense of a lifeline that leads to their innocence or justifies their action, no matter how irrational it may be. He tells me to expect similar things here. As our marriage has unraveled, my wife has portrayed herself as the victim. I'm in such a bad place, or I'm in a downward spiral and don't know how to stop it. It's always been about her. I am confident she had a strategy that ended at an amicable, agreeable divorce in which I just walk away for a small sum of money and she goes on with her life. I watched her move the pieces around for that strategy, and then I implemented my strategy. Her outrage at my initial bank withdrawal confirmed my thoughts, and her further outrage at being served for infidelity proved me right. Of note, her posting on social media has ramped way up. She blocked me, but, in her rush to conceal her misdeeds, she forgot to block my sister, who has been feeding me everything. In all her posts, she is the victim. Update, as little has changed. We have a temporary hearing scheduled in a few weeks to figure out short-term support stuff and other arrangements. My lawyer has been on top of things, but if anyone has experience with this, I'm all ears. My wife continues to behave in a manner displaying low moral character. For example, she's cut me off financially. I was ready for that, but with a $40,000 monthly income, it looks pretty bad, especially when she is spending the money taking friends on trips. I have proof of all this via frequent flyer accounts and bank statements. I do my homework. She's also locked me out of the house and changed the locks. You can't do that, silly woman, and lied to me about the date the lease ended, claiming I couldn't come back in. Then she said my stuff was boxed up and she moved it out of the house. So, I have no idea where my stuff is. Obviously, none of this legal, and I've documented every text, financial transaction, and so on. I have a copy of the lease and confirmed with the landlord that it is still in effect and my wife did not try to change it. I've arranged to return to hometown next week and go get my stuff. My wife will be out of town, and I've asked a local cop friend to accompany me. He has agreed. This is a defense against you took my such and such that I expect to see from my wife. My attorney has requested temporary support and attorney's fees from her. Along with the motion, he attached exhibits which prove the infidelity. He said he put it out there to preclude my wife from coming up with a story. She's already tried to say that the infidelity was not physical. So funny, but that's because she doesn't know what I have. As such, she thinks she has a handle on that issue. We will likely amend the motion with proof of her recent behavior. I'm generally curious what she will do next. A review of her bank records does not show a retainer paid to a lawyer yet. So, I expect the unexpected. Temporary hearing in a few weeks. Interrogatories exchanged and replying. Her side hinted at an offer, but it was like 5% of monthly income, $2,000 a month. Her income is $40,000 a month. Told my lawyer that was a non-starter. Temporary hearing is likely to impose some costs on her as she has a huge income and I don't. After that, I think negotiations will get serious. I am not looking for a Mortal Kombat type battle here. I did love my wife and I actually do want her to be happy. But I also want to make sure there is a connection between her actions to their consequences. Something like a third of her income as support for half the length of our marriage is where I'd like this to go. If she gets it done this year, she can leverage the tax code. If she doesn't, then Mortal Kombat time, I guess. Meanwhile, I'm at my friend's beach house trying to get my business up and running. I'm okay. There's a clean negotiation plan and a dirty negotiation plan. Clean negotiation equals offer, counteroffer, the usual, all within the context of what a court would customarily do. I know what ranges of awards are realistic, and by using some ordinary stressors, like temporary support, legal fees, the public record, I can probably shift her side's thinking to the high end of that range. Understand this, I sat there and collected evidence of her affairs for 3 months. I slept next to her while the texts from the other guy came in. I played dumb while she went out of town for professional education. Meanwhile, I had my people taking pictures, recording things, and so forth. Do you think I will go to court without already knowing the likely outcomes? Absurd. The homework is done. The books are put away. Dirty equals drop a neutron bomb, and nothing will ever grow in her world, ever again. Because I have everything. Everything, and she has done some things that she should not. And I'm not talking about sleeping with another dude, and I'm not talking about telling her mom that her daughter was a bad girl. No, friend. Those are small moves and I made big ones. The hospital corporation, their insurance companies, and the state licensing authorities would not be happy to know what I know and can prove. And she can go practice medicine in Africa with a few others who will be deposed if she wants Mortal Kombat. So, if it gets out of hand, the third question in deposition will be, have you ever X? And that will be the end of that. Her lawyer will freak, demand a break, and I will suggest a path to resolution and they will agree. Of course, I prefer to keep it clean, but I can get in the deepest mud. Already did that in the Navy. Now I'll do it with different weapons. Triggering event for clean to dirty strategy change is either A. 3 bullcrap offers or B. Contesting custody of the dog. So far there has been 1 bullcrap offer. Final update. Done. Successful mediation. I'll get $7,000 a month for half the length of the marriage. Her initial offer was $500. There was crying and screaming from her room. I felt bad as this is my wife and I love her, but she was finally being held accountable for really bad treatment of me. She walked by at one point and mouthed the words "I'm sorry" through the glass wall. I just nodded my head. I get my dog. I traded away over $10,000 for that little guy. Worth it every time. When it was all said and done, it hurts like hell and I miss her. I suppose both will decrease with time. I still don't know what happened in our marriage. I guess the answer is she revealed her true self. My comment: well, you said you sacrificed a six-figure business in order to move for her training. Do you and your lawyer think that this amount makes you whole for that loss and for the loss of time, future expansion that the business should have had during those training years? What do you think about this complete lesson? What would you have done different? Comment down, and I'll see you in the next marriage lesson.